Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Wildflower Wool's weekly knitting podcast. It's New Start Monday Knits, everybody. Um, Welcome. Grab some knitting, get comfy. We're going to chat for the next hour about the yarn you voted for today, the projects I've been working on this last week, and then we'll end up the hour chatting about what you all are working on. So, the poll for today was two different yarns. Yarn from my stash for a Shrug project. So this is what I pulled out. Saturday, when I was chatting with Cheryl on the Fiber Friends podcast, also was in the chat and reminded me about my orange yarn from Pickles. So I did a little looking and I found it, and I thought this would be the perfect time to start this project. Now, I should say restart it, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So this yarn here, so this is the two, orange and brown. So let's just take a little peek at the yarn. So this is Pickles. When I did a trip to Norway in 2019, I met up with Asa, and she was a super wonderful host and gave us, my friend and I, the complete tour of Oslo wool shops and Bergen yarn shops and the Bergen Fiber Festival. It was an incredible trip. I truly have never done so much yarn shopping in such a short amount of time. It was absolutely wonderful. And Pickles, you can find them on Instagram. They're a really wonderful yarn shop in Oslo, and I really, really wanted to go there. So I remember we had a wonderful lunch, and then went to Pickles, and it was in the cutest part of town, and the yarn shop was gorgeous. So I ended up getting, I think I only got 2 balls of this orange. I don't know. I was thinking of a shawl or something. Anyways, then I got started knitting with it and loved it so much. I was like, "Oh, I wish I had more." And Asa ended up sending me over a few more balls. So I think I have 6 balls of this in total. So this is 100% wool, as all wool is in Norway. And I would say it's probably a DK. So it's 100 grams, Pickles pure wool, 100% wool. It gives you, when it's talking needle size on the ball band, it's talking anywhere from a 2.5 to a 4 millimeter needle. And what's this saying? Hand wash, usual kind of stuff. So I would say that this is probably um, maybe a sport weight. It's, well, I don't know. I was going to say it looks heavier than fingering, but I'm not sure. I would actually have to look up the yarn to see what it says. I think it's, I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to look it up before I started guessing. Hello, everybody. I see people coming in here in the chat. So the Pickles yarn is so nice. Oh my gosh, you guys. It is rusticy. If you guys are liking something, if you don't like something that has a little bit of a pick to it, this is probably not your yarn, but oh my gosh, it's wonderful. Hi, Susanna. So this yarn, so kind of total opposite end of the spectrum here for as far as wool goes. I remember getting this a few years ago from Listowel from the Spin Right tent sale. It was in a discontinued bin. It was probably as cheap as could be, but I just loved the color of this. So let's see. So it's called Bernat Twisted. It's 100 grams. It's a number 6 super bulky. 80 acrylic, and there is 20 wool in here. So this is nice. No pickiness to this one at all. Super bulky, but just I love the colors. Love, 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 love the colors. Yeah, what else can I tell you? 3, 8, blah, 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 blah. Someone would say 100 grams. What is the yardage on here? 80 meters, 88 yards. So I have about, what did I count this morning? About 6 of these and 3 or 4 of similar. I think it's a different color. It's a lot lighter. So I would probably have to mix the 2. And I know when I bought them, there wasn't quite enough of this for whatever I was thinking of making at the time, and I bought the 2 different shades thinking that I would just blend them in. Anyway, that looks fun. They both look very fall-ish. So I do apologize. The poll for voting went up really, really late this morning. I knew today was going to be a crazy, crazy busy day, and it was. So, anyways, I got it up around noon, so there wasn't quite as many votes as we normally have, but that's all right. There were still lots of votes. We're still getting close to 100 votes. Um, there was lots of different comments. There was a lot of votes for orange because, of course, we're coming into fall, we're coming into Halloween season. There was lots of votes for this one because it was a little chunkier. And again, the browns look very fallish as well. Asa commented, of course, she voted for the orange and said, it was about time I was casting this on. But you know what? This actually is already cast on. I have one ball almost knit. When I found this yarn, I'm like, what is cast on in there? As soon as I pulled it out, I'm like, I remember this. I had started an asymmetrical scarf and I had one ball just about knit into it. I was using a 4 millimeter needle, so maybe this is more of a fingering, maybe a sport weight. It might be fingering. Now I need to go look and what they what they say it is. I don't see any yardage on here. Anyways, oh yes, I do. 380 meters. So it probably is fingering. Okay. Fingering versus a super bulky, you guys. It's like a will she get it done? Will she not get it done kind of voting. Anyway, so both are super, super nice, and I think both would be great. I just want to do a shrug, which is really a rectangle shawl with sleeves sewn in the end of it, right? So it would be again just a simple knit and but something really cozy, something just to pull on. And I think both of these would fit the bill for that project really, really nicely. So the votes, I think we had the winning yarn had 63, 64% of the votes. So it was the yarn that did not win did come up at the end because as I was starting to count the votes, I was like, oh, this is definitely one-sided, one way or the other. And then the other one started to catch up. I'm like, oh, this could be close. But in the end, not. So with I think 64% of the votes, the yarn that you all voted for me to cast on for this week's project is the orange pickles. So I am super excited for this. So the shawl that I already have started, I'm just going to quickly measure that gauge and see what I'm getting for a gauge. How many stitches for over the inch, but I will do another swatch because that knitting was done, oh my gosh, I don't know, probably more than 2 years ago, probably 3 years ago at least, and, so I'll kinda start fresh, and I'm just gonna kind make up the project. I'm gonna figure out how like a gauge to garment type sweater. I'm going to measure, see how, deep I want this, and then it will give me just really nice, um drapey sleeves. We'll call them drapey. I think it'll be really fun, just a really cozy, nice, warm project. So this is fun. So I'm going to use the 4 millimeter needle that was in the bag. So that was a happy surprise to find a knitting needle in there. Could be able to recoup one of my needles that have been long time missing in a project bag. So that's what I am going to do. I don't think I have it here though. As I say, Jocelyn last night, we looked through a couple of bags of projects that I had on the go, but I don't see the pickles. It must, no, different bottle of orange. I don't have it here with me. But I will just pull that back out. I don't have to wind anything because you can just knit from the center of these. And I'm just going to cast on and knit. I have got lofty knitting goals for this month. So I'm going to have to manage my time effectively. I say that, and then it won't be. I'll just knit whatever I feel like when I feel like it, and then we'll see what we get done. But I do, and because it is getting closer to gift giving time, got to give some thought towards that as well. So I'm really excited. I don't know. I don't know which one I would have. This was the yarn that I went looking for first, and then when I found this, I was excited about this too. I don't know. I don't know which one I would. I don't know. I'm excited for them both and thinking that they actually both might make great shrugs. So who knows? Maybe they'll both get cast on at some point. Okay, I will show you what else I worked on. I have a few projects here. Start with this one here. So the mitered square bag. I did one more square in the Mercury colorway. So here's my cast off. So I ended up doing this one. I marked my center stitch, cast on for this mitered square an odd number of stitches, put a removable stitch marker on that center stitch, and I have been slipping the first stitch of every row, knitting across and knitting to one before the center stitch, and then slipping both of those stitches, the one before the center, slipping them knitwise, knitting the next stitch, and then passing both the slip stitches over. So it decreases one stitch on either side, and it keeps that, it moves the one stitch over to make my center stitch. Keeps it all in a pretty line, gives it a little more texture. I showed some of um, the other way of doing mitered square, where you actually do an even number of stitches. You work to two stitches before your marked stitch, and you knit two together. You knit the center stitch, and you slip, slip, knit. So you've got stitches going both directions. You've got a right leaning, you've got a left leaning, and it ends up as a perfectly square little swatch as well. You just don't have the textured diagonal line. It's smoother, but both look pretty and either one work well. It's just I wanted something that had a little more texture on it for this project, so this is what I'm going with. So I got another square done. This project is I'm in no rush for it to get done, so I'm just even just one square a week. I need 13 squares. That seems like an awful lot of weeks. I should maybe bump that up to 2 squares a week. Anyways, what am I knitting this on? I don't not know. 4.5. Okay. Oh boy. Yes, 4.5. It does tell me on here 4.5 US 7, and think this will be fine. It's not going to be super, super tight for a bag, but I'm going to use this as a knitting bag. I want to knit my own knitting bags. That's kind of is Liz in the chat here? She was telling me about buying more project bags this weekend at the Knitters Fair. Well, oh, Liz is here. So this is going to be one, but I know the rate I'm knitting I keep wanting to call them granny squares, mitered squares. I'm going to be a long time making like myself a whole bunch of new bags, but one at a time, one more square done. What else did I work on? Okay, let me show you this. I showed you this. My never ending shawl is still never ending. It's still going, but look at the pretty colors I am into now. I was looking at this and I'm like, okay, right about here, you can see where I started getting into that a little bit of the teal. I was so excited when I was way back here to be getting into that marled section that was gray and kind of the teal aqua color. And now I have done all of this. So my stitch marker is right here. I didn't get as done much done as last week, but still okay. This is a project that I pick up, try to do at least once a night, and do 2 rows. Do a shaping row, do an increase row. And I usually have to make myself put it down because I do like working on it. Okay, so there was my marker. So I've added this much width and this much height. So a little bit, but the rows are getting longer all the time. So it is, but it's okay. It's just garter stitch. I love it. I really, really, really like the colors. So I'm at the length of my needle with my stitches. So it's getting wider across the top and it's got considerable length to it. So it's going to be really nice just to keep wrapping, like double, triple wrap around. It's going to be really nice and cozy. It's the Hobby Lobby yarn, the bee yarn, Teal of Fortune, and the name of the yarn is something Rhapsody. It is really nice. It's a cotton acrylic blend, so if you find wool itchy, this would be nice. And I find it nice to knit. It does not split very much. It's actually a really nice knit. The yarn is very fine though, definitely fingering or light fingering, but it's gorgeous. I love it a lot. Liz says, I'm here, but I won't hold my breath about you finishing several project bags. Maybe I just need to make smaller bags, like focus on sock bags. And I did, some of you may have seen on Saturday, I did pull it. I can't even remember what these things are called. Yarn, I think I've heard a couple of different names. But even though I'm knitting from the center, I did put my ball on here because, and I pulled out all this chunk. I was trying to be so um really careful that the yarn didn't get tangled, and then I just went to pull out a little bit of yarn, and there's a whole center section came out. So I think I have it where I can just very carefully, oh, that looks tangled. Okay, darn. I thought I had it untangled. Anyways, yarn caddy. Yes, 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 yes. Um, oh, you call yours a yarn caddy. That's a great name. Oh, a yarn buddy. Oh, yarn buddy, yarn caddy. Okay. Yeah, well, it's really nice. And I told the story on Saturday that I really, really like this because I had a dear friend, Carol, who was one of our founding original members of our knitting guild. And her husband does woodworking. And Carol, quite a few years ago now, she had convinced him to do some of these, and like they're just such good, like solid wood, and they're just it's great sturdiness, good quality. Anyways, a bunch of us from our guild purchased them, and it is a nice reminder because Carol's no longer with us. And so every time I see this, it just makes me smile and is a nice reminder of her and all the great times we had. Um, yeah, it's nice. So anyways, this is great. So I'm hoping this will keep my yarn from tangling any further. And the project is just moving along. It's fun. I'm liking it. It's one of those ones that once it's finished, I'm just gonna grab another ball of sock yarn, maybe a single one this time, and cast on and do another one. I just love doing the asymmetrical. It's a great knit night project. You can just knit and chalk, and 9 times out of 10, you don't make a mistake, There's a little room for error, but for the most part, it's pretty good. The other project, now, if you watched Jocelyn and I last night, Jocelyn and I didn't chat Friday night because she was away at the Manitoba Fiber Festival having a wonderful time at with Aaron from Fiberweed Fiber Co. Sounds like they had a great show. But 2 months ago, this dainty sock was supposed to have been my project to get finished, and I didn't get it finished. So I picked it up for this month because I vetoed the project I was supposed to work on. I just wasn't feeling it. And anyways, oh, Jocelyn is here. um, so I picked this up and with the hopes of getting this dainty sock finished. It is sock number 2. I did find a second ball because if you remember when I was finishing, I finished sock 1 a little while ago, and I started sock 2 with the realization that I did not know where ball number 2 was or if I had a second ball. I was pretty sure that I must have, but every once in a while, I I do buy a single ball of Croy just because I don't know why. I do sometimes. But I was pretty sure that I had a second ball. Yes, orange one for anybody who's popping in. And I did. I took a little look through all of the yarn that I organized and I knew where all my sock yarn was. And thank goodness I found one more of this. And this colorway is Sweet Stripes. Pretty sure it's discontinued. I haven't seen it in any yarn shops that carry Patton's Croy. I did a little looking over the last few months and I found one shop, but I'm thinking that they maybe just had a couple balls left from some old stash. I haven't seen it anywhere else. Anyways, I didn't need to go buy one because I found one in my stash. So I'm working, I knit the whole 50-gram ball was one sock and just up until where I ended with that single purple stripe and then just I joined and have just worked a little bit of white and a little bit of yellow, and now I'm into a light purple. So I didn't worry about matching up stripes because I didn't worry about it when I cast on, even though, no, they're not close. I had thought when I looked at them this morning, I thought, oh, maybe I'm kind of close because I was looking at purple in the cuff here, but nah, doesn't matter. So they're not going to match. They're not going to be matchy matchy. They're going to be matchy unmatchy socks, and I am totally fine with that. So I've got the heels done, the heel flap, and the Dutch heel is turned. Gusset decreases are decreased away. So now I'm just working round and round and round on the foot, and I'm going to go to 2 inches before the length of my foot, and then I'm just going to start decreasing for the toe, Kitchener stitch it up, and done. And yeah, that'll be fine. It'll be done. And then I will have to fold down the picot, that really cute little picot edge, and I'll have to tack that down on the inside of the sock, but that doesn't take long. So this is going to be a a no longer whip. I'm trying not to use that F word. But I'm like, what word was I using? It's going to be no longer need to be knitted on project. That's what it's going to be. Hopefully very soon-ish. So that's that. My secret knitting for Jocelyn and I that will show this next month. I found this sweater shoved in a bag, you guys, like with a couple of other, what was it, a sock project, the very teeny weeny beginnings of another sweater project. And yeah, so I have an almost finished sweater here. Just need to do a little bit more on the body, 2 sleeves, and pick up and do something for the neckline. This I started a couple of years ago. It's a raglan, obviously top down, something, something, gauge to garment, I'm guessing, because that's typically what I do. So I'm hoping for some progress on this over the next month because this is the Barocco remix, and it is, oh my gosh, so gorgeous. Every time I pick up this yarn, I'm like, why am I not knitting everything with this yarn? So, um, anyways, that's I'm going to work on this for um in between all my other projects, and we'll see how much progress I can get done on this over the next month. Um, I have got I've got 2 more projects to show you. Daisy's coming up here to say hello. Okay, what do I have here? Last week's. So I've got my Della Q bag which I absolutely love, the wax canvas bag. I'm really excited to see Cheryl's bags. So you guys all know Cheryl from My Needle Crafts. She is super busy working on some new bags to go to Kitchener this weekend. Saturday, we have the start of our fall fiber festivals. And she has got some canvas. It's not a waxed canvas, but canvas in some gorgeous colors. And she has done, I think she calls them a bucket bag. So they're round with handles and side pockets. And she said they're large enough to hold a sweater quantity of yarn. She has some tote bags cut out in the same canvas. And she does have a goldy color like this. There was a navy, there was a chocolate brown, something like a merlot purpley color. There was a lighter blue. There was an avocado green, which was kind of more of like a lighter green. Just gorgeous, gorgeous colors. So I'm really, really excited to see those because I am right now, I'm just loving canvas bags. So I can't wait to see and feel and fondle her bags and kind of pick out what color. There's about three: navy, chocolate brown, and the gold. Big surprise. Big surprise. Um, Anyways, yeah, so I'm super excited to take a look at those on the weekend. So this is last week's yarn, you guys. This was yarn hand dyed from Suzanne at Knit Stitch, one of our local yarn shops here in London. And Yarnbird Studio is what she the label on her yarn that she dyes. So this was just a one of a kind. There was no name on it, but look at this. Like, oh my gosh. It looked gorgeous in the skein, but it looks even prettier wound into a ball. Like, look at those colors. The bright blue, there's a deep burgundy, there's lighter bready shades in there. There's little bits of white. Like, there's just a little bit of everything. So this is a DK, and I am using it for socks because it does have some nylon in it. And here is my little bit of a start. I did do a long tail cast on, but I might just keep going on this. But the next sock, I might do a tubular cast on, and just to have a sample of both for my sock knitting class that I'm doing in a couple of weeks. But they both have a good stretch, so they would both be fine for socks. But long tail, you can never go wrong with long tail for socks. And I'm just doing a knit one, purl one. So when I do the tubular cast on, I'll set that set up for knit one, purl one. So at least the ribbing will match. The cast ons may not, but the ribbing will match. Anyways, it is, look at it. It's just so pretty. So, so pretty. I don't think I would have ever thought to put those colors together, like the deep raspberry burgundy color with the bright blue. I love it. So, so fun. So anyways, that is it. The yarn is really soft. It is gorgeous. This would have been a great yarn to do a cowl with. Um, yeah, for anybody, definitely softer than the pickles yarn, but I think it'll make great socks too. So I got a little bit of a start, but now that it's on the needle, once it's on the needle, then it's just there, it's ready to go. I can just pick it up whenever the mood strikes me. I do, it was noted last night that I do seem to have a lot of socks on the needles, but the dainty socks are going to be finished shortly, and my other socks, I've got another pair that's almost ready to be cast off. So I did find I was like spending my weekend sorting needles, and this needle I had actually found before this weekend. So this was sitting in my with some of my needles. So it's a 3.25 millimeter 9-inch Chow sock needle, and it's lovely. I love knitting with it. Oh, you are always a long tail or German twist. Yes, but toe upper. So you're all about Judy's magic cast on. Yes, absolutely. Cindy, you're fine. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see Diane and Nancy and Sam. Nikki's here, our birthday girl. Oh my gosh. Okay. Karen, yearning for a smile. It's Karen, right? I gotta write myself some post-it notes. I don't know. I always have to ask you every time. I am so sorry. Pretty sure it's Karen. Anyways, welcome everybody. So, okay, I'm really excited. It just feels like now that September is here, we've had a couple of cooler days. Today was warmer. I think this week, kind of like Indian summer, maybe you can call it. It's warmer again, but the weekend was definitely Kim close. I'm gonna write that down. Kim. Okay, sorry, Kim. um, anyways, yeah, so it definitely having the weekend be cool. It just really feels like it's gonna be sock knitting, right? Sock knitting weather. I mean, it's always really sock knitting weather. Who are we kidding? Socks are perfect for the summer because they're small, they're lightweight. They're great to like take to the pool, to the beach, to get baseball, soccer games, that kind of thing. But sock knit, no, 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 that's not what I want to say. Sock wearing. I want to say hand knit socks. That's what I'm trying to say. Hand knit socks. It's time to wear hand knit socks. So it just makes me feel like I want to knit and cast on all the socks so I can wear all the socks. I'm kind of on a have like a project in mind. Like I need to replace all of my socks. All of my hand knit socks, most of them are knit with Croy. And you guys, Croy wears so well. If you've been listening to me talk over all these years, right? I love Croy. I am like a big advocate of Croy. It is like a good workhorse yarn. It's economical and it wears. And which is why I have had all of my Croy socks forever. And honestly, I don't get holes in them, but the elastic goes and they end up being like a slouchy sock after quite a few, like a bazillion wears and washes and over multiple years. So um, I want some new socks. And I get a little lazy with my socks and I just like toss them in with whatever I'm washing. So they don't get treated. As I'm knitting them, I'm like babying them and have them in a project bag and being like, so you don't want them to look all perfect. And as soon as I wear them, I like throw them in. And it's like they have to survive because I don't baby them at all. I don't put them in the dryer typically, but um anyways, because socks are socks. They're meant to wear, they're meant to wear out, they're meant to be faded, they're meant to get stretched because then we can just make new ones. Oh, Kim, have I knit with Opal and Regia? Yes, I have. And speaking of Regia, this is what I found last night. I am thinking that I bought this. It says celebration colors on there. So I'm like, celebration as in like holiday Christmas, sorta maybe. I mean, it's got green and red in there. Not really. It's got gold in here, and I like gold for Christmas because I like any kind of shade of yellow. I have to stick that into my holiday stuff. So I don't know. Like, really, I think it's a little bit of a stretch to say that this is Christmassy, but hey, why not? It's got red and green, so pretty much anything goes, right? It is really nice. It's yes, and you're right. Opal and Regia, they're also good, good durable yarns for socks, right? Hi, Susie. Is there a sock yarn that is warmer than Croy? Huh, that's a good question, you guys. My hubby always indicates but his feet are cold, even wearing the Croy or DK I've made him. Hmm, that is a good question because I've always found Croy because they are a little heavier to be fairly warm. I don't know. What about um like trying something that has some silk or some mohair in it? Those are also like super durable. Silk is supposed to be really, really warm. That's an interesting question. I don't know, Susie. Does anybody else have any ideas on that? Oh, look at this, Kim. So this one here, Was part of the Winter Solstice limited edition release. So was this like a lot? Well, obviously it had to be last year because it's already started. Oh, that's interesting. So it is. Okay, so that totally makes sense. What did it say? Celebration yarns? Celebration color. Interesting. Oh, Jocelyn's saying alpaca. Yeah, because alpaca is warm. Yeah, I guess you will just have to go out and try a bunch of different sock yarns, Susie, and just see trial and error for him, won't you? See what kind of blend he finds the warmest. Anyways, this is really fun, and I would say by looking at it, I'm ready to do a heel. So the potential. The potential is here for another finished pair of socks. Christmas socks. That would be super fun. So these are kind of gonna get snuck in here and worked on as well. Oh, Nikki's got a good one. Nikki says Briggs and Little has a Durasport weight yarn. It's similar to Croy because it's rustic and might be more warm. I do find superwash yarns are not warm on my feet. Okay, yeah, and the Briggs and Little's not superwash. So it's the Durasport. So it's got nylon in it because I have like I was gonna say 100 balls. That's exaggerating. But I have a few Durasports here, which they're way out with my sock yarn. Yes, and so it might be, and like it's a really rusticy. I mean, Briggs and Little is a rusticy wool. That might be a good one to try. Yeah, that's fun. I love all these ideas. Alpaca, the silk, the mohair, Briggs and Little, non-superwash for superwash. Again, the whole reason we love to knit, right, is that there is just almost unlimited. There's lots of possibilities, things to try, right? Mohair with a superwash for added warmth. Yes, and make that into like a DK, follow a DK weight pattern with the mohair. That might do the trick too. Okay, Susie, you're going to be knitting socks all winter long. We're going to expect a report back from every single one. Just have to give it thumbs up or thumbs down. And what is the magic secret ingredient for him to keep his feet warm? What else? Oh, I have one more thing to show you guys. I am so excited about this. Back to my canvas bag. So this canvas bag came from another local yarn shop from Little Red Mitten. They carry some Della bags, which I am a little bit obsessed about. I have the tote bag and I have the backpack, and then I have two of the project bags. But I did put the tote bag away for the summer because it's not very summery. It is very heavy. It's heavy canvas with leather straps, so it doesn't feel light and summery. So I did put it away for the summer, but it is now almost not summer. So I'm feeling like I'm going to pull it out to take to the yarn show this weekend because it will also work as a shopping bag. I think I'm going to take a sock project with me so I can sit and do a little bit of knitting. And I am not looking to buy a whole lot of yarn. Like, really, maybe a couple skeins of sock yarn is really all that I'm looking for. Some solids. I'm always looking for solid sock yarn. So I'm going to do a quick little inventory of the solids that I have because I go shopping for sock yarn and I look at it and I'm like, I remember seeing this at another yarn store, but did I look at it and like it or did I look at it and buy it? So, I mean, not that if I came home with the same color and I had multiple skeins of it, it's not going to be the end of the world. But I would like to have a good selection, a good stash of solid colors for doing color work. And you guys, Sock Madness is coming up in February, which is going to be here like in a blink of an eye. So I got to be prepared. Okay, so this yarn, remember this one you voted for? This was like the dark colored one that was looked on the outside, the Nora, that it looked a little bit more fallish because there was purple in there until you looked in the inside and there's bright blue and it doesn't look fallish anymore. It's going to have some nice bright colors in there. But for right now, it is looking like a very fall themed shawl. And this is a modified triangle. So I am increasing on either end. So down here, every row. So I'm increasing on the right side row and increasing on the wrong side row. And then it has the traditional center stitch with yarn over increases on either side up the center. So what this is going to do, because it's only one skein, I want it to have more width and be a little shallower. So it's going to be a shallow triangle. And I am loving this. Again, it is a little more concentration than my asymmetrical because I have to be really careful. I don't miss my yarn overs here because that shows up. Lots of times you guys know that I will fudge something if I can possibly fudge it, I fudge it. But if you miss a yarn over, you can tell. And because I've done that multiple times on different projects before. And then I always try to convince myself that I can just leave it and it'll be fine. And then, of course, I always end up pulling it back. So I could and probably should put a stitch marker on here just as a reminder, like stop, do my increase. But I haven't. And I probably should because as my rows get longer, I don't want to have to look back and realize that I forgot a yarn over. Now, if I catch it soon enough, you can pick it up on the next row and make your yarn over in there. But I should. Up until now, I've just been watching my stitches, but the rows are getting long enough that I don't want to accidentally miss it. So I will put stitch markers. And I mean, really, ideally, best practice is I should have one here as well. I've have three stitches of garter stitch, a yarn over. So I could put a marker here as well so I don't miss this on either end. Nancy says she uses stitch markers in hers. Absolutely, because you know what? There's no prize at the end of the project to be able to say, "Ha, I did this without stitch markers." Um, that's it is, even though you can read your stitches, this is a good project for just Netflix watching, binge watching, taking it to knit night. And those are the times when you don't have stitch markers. You're like, I'll remember, I'll watch my stitches, and you don't, you just like zoom right through. So I pulled out my stitch markers yesterday and I'm going to stick them on here. But look at the color on here. I am I am loving this. Loving this. You can just see it's kind of started brown into blue. Now it's getting into like a color, like it started out brown and then it's gone into kind of this pinky mauvey color. I'm excited. Super, super excited to see how this is going. I did not do a garter tab. And I maybe should. And like, what are the odds? I cast on right where the yarn changed color, which was a little bit unfortunate because that kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. But you know what? I'm not even going to worry about it because I don't know. I keep saying all these things are going to go in the Christmas box, but I don't know. I just want to keep them all. So, and I just might. And I think by the time you are wearing this, this is going to be bunched up. It's going to be, you're not even going to see that little bit. So I'm not even worrying about it. But anyways, yep, this is it. I'm loving this. I picked this up and I've worked quite a bit on this. It's going to get to the point now where it's all of a sudden it's going to start getting wider and wider and the rows are going to get longer. But right now it's kind of in that beginning stage where it's like, oh, these rows are short, and you're just like zipping through row after row, you're increasing, you're going back and forth. But it's going to hit a point right shortly where you're going to do that one more increase and all of a sudden it's going to be like, whoa, these rows are getting long. And that's what I feel like I'm almost at that mark. Oh, Cindy, thanks. I know I'm really liking it too. And it's one of those ones, right, where you just want to keep going. You keep knitting and then you're like peeking in the ball and it's like, where is that color change? Right? There's something about that color change. You just want to keep going until you get the color change. So it's really fun. And this was a Noro Curion sock yarn. So Noro doesn't have any color like names. They're all numbers. Yeah, Curion sock yarn. It's a 70 wool, 30 nylon. Um, did I ask this last time? I like every time I look at this and I'm like, I know this is sock yarn, but I don't think I have ever knit socks with Noro sock yarn. I have always used it in shawls. So I'm curious, has anybody actually used this for socks? I'm like, it must be durable. There's 30% nylon in there, so it must be, but to me, I don't know. The yarn doesn't, it just gives me the impression of not, I don't know why I want to say not super durable. That may be because probably completely wrong. I don't know why I think that. But anyways, all I have done is used it with shawls because the color, the striping, the long color, um, it just knits up so nice in shawls. Maybe I should actually knit a pair of socks with it. Now this stuff here is again is rusticy. It kind of, which one is softer? I don't know. I don't know. They might be. They're both about the same. They have a little. Both have a little bit of a pick to them. Maybe this might for some people be better to be. Okay, yeah. So Kim is kind of saying Noro tends to be more of a thick and thin, so it's not really a sock yarn. And there definitely is. I already knit in the thick little like 2 or 3 stitches. And again, this orange is a little bit thicker. So yeah, for sure. Because then the green is super, super. I don't know if you can see these, both of those, but the orange is like way thicker. Anyways, that is that. So anyway, yeah, it's nice, but it's nice. Maybe not the best one. There are sock yarns from there's fingering weight yarns from Noro that are softer. And the one that this was up against was a different one. It started with a T. Now I can't. The word is just kind of escaped me, but it had some silk in it and some cotton. It was really, really nice. And it would be like make a really nice cowl or shawl if picky yarns, rusticy yarns are just a little bit too rusticy for you. Anyways, yeah, I'm like really liking this. So I'm just kind of rotating between everything, doing half of a mitered square and then doing a couple of rows on my never ending shawl. And then I pick this up and work on this for a little bit. So really I'm not really getting anything finished, but I'm getting a little bit of progress done on everything. And I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So I'm just going to keep right on going. I'm like really excited to get a little bit more done on this. I am kind of beyond excited to work on this. Now that I have really come to the realization that this is fingering weight, but a formula, I'm not going to think about it as fingering weight. I'm going to think about it that I was knitting the shawl on a 4 millimeter. So I'm going to do the shrug on a 4 millimeter as well. And 4 millimeter doesn't scream super, super skinny yarn that's going to take a bazillion years to knit. So I'm just going to go with a 4 millimeter needle is going to be a doable length project that I can do and get done quickly so I can wear it this fall. That's what I'm going to go with. So I'm going to go play around with this, take some measurements, figure out my gauge, and cast on and try on as I go. See how the depth of this shrug is looking and adjust if I need to. But just keep on going. I'm really excited because I would like to wear this. I love this color and it would make Asa very happy if I finally knit with it. So I am going to cast it on tonight, and this is going to turn into something that I can wear this fall. And it's going to be so wonderful. I cannot wait. Uh-oh, what is this? Oh no, Liz is saying I'm shaking my head, yelling stitch markers. I know I'm living dangerously knitting this without stitch markers, but I know because I need to take my own advice and put stitch markers in. Put stitch markers in for sure. Oh, oh, what is it? Okay, I got to go back here. Hi, Lynn. I see Lynn is in here. What is? Kim says I have a lot of the bags, but also love the what OG company. Oh, Namaste. Oh my gosh. Yes. Um, and then when Laura took over and had it named Delaque Namaste. That's right. I loved Namaste. I have a couple of bags. I have a beautiful tote bag that I loved and I used and used and used and used and used until it was made out of, I think, like a vegan leather, and all the coating just started to flake off it. But the bag, I loved it. It was my most favorite bag. Absolutely. Yes. Um, oh, pleather line. Yes. See, yes, their new line is a lot more rustic. Absolutely is. For sure. Okay, so what else? Susie said, I've got a shawl like that on the needles and have missed a yarn over. Uh-oh, did you have stitch markers in there? I tried the stitch markers, but they ended up in the couch cracks and I didn't notice till later. Okay, Susie, thank you. That you're just confirming the fact that I have been playing with fire for like too long on this shawl already. I'm putting stitch markers in it tonight. But you're right. I know the stitch markers, they're easy. They slip off the tips of the needles. They're under the couch, they're under the cushions. They're yeah, you have to have like a little bowl. That's why I've been making little pottery bowls and I just fill them with stitch markers and then I just keep getting a new one out when I need it. And then eventually, you go and try to collect all the ones that have disappeared. Okay, so Liz, I keep a box of stitch markers. Uh-oh, Liz, where'd you go? I keep a box of stitch markers on the table next to me for times when one decides to jump off and land. Oh, into the land of no return. Exactly. Which is otherwise known as between the cushions. And yeah, yeah. Cam, narrow to me. Oh, yes, we talked about the thick and thin. Nancy said, I did start another one of those with, what is it? It's a little sticky, but I like the color change it makes. Okay. With what kind of yarn? I'm okay. Oh, what is a Shrug, Sam? So it's a sweat. It's a very loose fitting sweater, but you basically you knit it as a rectangle and then you fold the ends up and seam them to make little arms and yeah, it's very simple, easy peasy kind of sweater. Something it's just like something you would put on. I don't know. I don't know. I saw a picture of one on Instagram, of course, and I'm like, "Oh, I need to have one of those," right? I have knit ones before, but I've always knit ones that have been a little bit like really like a short, like more like maybe like a bolero kind of one, because I didn't want the arms to be super, super big. But this one here, I'm really liking um what is the word I want? Like a really big sleeve. So I'm not worrying about this one being extra wide and having a lot of stitches. I mean, and anyways, yeah, I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm just gonna knit it and sew it up and wear it. I think it'll be wonderful. Okay, Kim says yes, mine peeled off. So, oh yes, you had the same problem, and I had you had the messenger and three compartment tote. Mm, the vegan leather from the Laura takeover was really nice. Had several of those, and they're still amazing after wear and tear. Okay, so that's good. But I guess it's just yeah, that it's just something kinda you just take your chances, I guess, and see how well things wear, right? Kimono sleeves, that's a good way to describe it, Louise, I like that. Yes, kimono sleeves. Yeah, you say that, and you're like, you immediately picture a really wide sleeve, don't you? Oh, Susie says, "I use a shrug at my desk as it's loose and it allows free movement." Yeah. exactly. It's like when like a hoodie, like an oversized hoodie, you just like want to pull over and be cozy and comfy. And the shrug is like a blanket with sleeves kind of thing. Yeah, nice. Words of doom. I know, right? You see something and you're like, "Oh, I could make that. I could make that. Yes, I like that. I've got yarn for that. I'll go buy yarn for that." I know. That is why we're all in this predicament of having big yarn stashes, lots of whips, because we get very easily distracted. Jocelyn, 5 inches to go, and the Scrappy V will be finished. Oh my gosh, you were so close, Jocelyn. Keep going. You'll have that done like what, tomorrow night? You won't have it done. Will you have it done tonight? 5 inches. Probably tomorrow, I'm guessing. Depends how. Oh, okay. So Nancy, like by James C. Brett. Oh, it's acrylic merino, a DK weight. Okay, I like the James C. Brett yarn is really, really nice. I've knit a couple of sweater projects with that. Acrylic and merino, DK. That's nice. That's a good combination. Well, you guys, okay, so this is so exciting. Here's the orange for one last time. This is so pretty. It's kind of like a heathery color when you look at it really close. It's yes, Jocelyn says not tonight. Tomorrow would be ideal. I know it's like how late do you want to stay up, right? 5 inches. Yeah, so tomorrow. Tomorrow's good. All right, I'm gonna go play around with this. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to take some gauge swatches of the shawl and I'm going to pull that out and probably wash it and hang it to dry before I knit with it. So I think I'm going to go. Oh, Liz, I did. I did last night. Sally's sent me or was in the chat last night with Jocelyn and I, and she's like, Louise, you opened the thread, but it is also locked. And that's what I did. The two boxes for no comments, no chatting is right side by side with the locked thread. I know, and I was in like such a rush to open it and I locked it. Anyways, thank you, Liz, for reminding me. But yes, it is open. So go put your chicken in there because it should be ready to go. If there's what? It's not unlocked? Oh, for goodness. Did I forget to save it? Hold on, you guys. Okay, I'm gonna do this right now. I fixed it last night. I was sure I fixed it. No, I did not fix it. It is not that I didn't believe you. Okay, I must not have hit the save button. Hold on. Let's try this again. Save. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna get fired from my own job here. I'm gonna get replay. Okay, no chat. Unlocked. Okay. Try that, Liz. Okay. See if that works now. If it doesn't, send me a message, but it should be fine now. Go try and put your chicken in there. All right, you guys. Okay. The Ravelry thread looks like it's fixed. Fingers crossed. No, we won't fire you. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Um, okay, you guys have a great knitting week. So Cheryl and I, the Fiber Friends podcast, will not be podcasting live Saturday morning. We're going to podcast live Sunday night because we're going to be at the Fiber, the knitting show. So we will see you Sunday night and we will have a little bit of a recap. And Cheryl can give us the whole lowdown on how vending went at the show. I'm going to wander around. Diana from Northern Knits podcast is going to be in the fashion show. So I'm going to try to get some pictures or a little video of Diana doing her model walk, modeling some fantastic knitwear, and we'll share some of those. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a fun weekend. So you guys get a lot of knitting done. Thank you so much for voting for this orange because I can't wait to knit it. This is going to be such a fun project. So we will be back here Monday. There'll be another vote, and I'm going to try to get a lot of progress done on a whole bunch of different things. And I'll come back next week and show you how I make out with that. Have a great knitting week, everybody. Thank you for joining me live. Thank you for voting for this week's yarn. And we will chat to you next week. Happy knitting, everybody.